So we've got some news. Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel's Avengers is finally getting a brand new hero. This video is going to go on ahead and break that down along with all the other details that we're getting for Marvel's Avengers. Of course, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Huge thank you to you guys for your support. And without further ado, let's dive on in. So, of course, if you don't know, there's been a bit of a dry spell as far as content is concerned for Marvel's Avengers, and that is probably the kindest way of putting it. Because, well, unless if you're a PlayStation player, I think it's coming up on like close to a year that you haven't gotten any new heroes on the other platforms. Now, I know that obviously PlayStation had Spider-Man, which is cool, but again, that is isolating one part of the community for this video game and not including everybody else. So obviously, it is kind of a bummer as far as that element is concerned for everybody else. Well, fear not, because a new character is on the way, and it will be the one and only the mighty Thor, Jane Foster. So as you can see, we have the insignia right here for the character, along with a nice little April development update that was just dropped today. Now, of course, let's get through these details because boy, oh boy, it's a doozy. I gotta be honest with you guys, it's a bit of a bummer as to how this game continues to go. But let's dive in. So, first and foremost, of course, now that patch 2.3 is behind us, which was a bit of a disaster apparently for a lot of people, we'd like to update you on what's coming up and next in the future for the game. So let's get into it. Our next update, 2.4, is currently targeting a May release. Which is interesting, because then you think to yourself, well, that must mean when this skin drops, when this character drops of Jane Foster Thor. So let's get into it, shall we? As we mentioned in our last development update, 2.4 will continue to focus on system improvements. Yeah, just like 2.3 focused on system improvements and totally did not break the game for a lot of people. Notice that sarcasm, because boy, oh boy, how can you possibly promote an update for a video game that supposedly fixes everything and then goes on ahead and breaks the game for everybody? It's just crazy. Regardless, let's keep going. Events like Cosmic Threat, Tachyon Anomaly, and Corrupted Vibranium helped build a backbone to Marvel's Avengers' first year, allowing us to add a variety to the Avengers initiative and giving new and different goals to chase with your squad mates. Okay, well, kind of. I mean, the variety is... I mean, I agree as far as this is concerned, like the Cosmic Threat and Tachyon Anomaly and all that. The problem is, even since that point, these have been kind of a lot more lame because they've been reworked because supposedly they were giving you too much stuff, as they said, which, in my opinion, I disagree with because honestly, I mean, like, this is not a PvP game. This is a PvE game. So I don't understand the logic behind developer. I mean, sorry, I do understand the logic. They're trying to get you to play the game for as long as possible and buy all their little microtransaction things. But I just think in a game that's already struggling to stay alive, you want to, instead of abuse the people who are still playing your game, instead of that, I think you would want to like incentivize them to be like, hey, enjoy the video game. But, you know, what do I know? I'm not a game developer. So here are the actual things that they're quote unquote fixing. To make each event more unique and worth playing, we're improving and diversifying rewards across events, with each event now rewarding gear from different sets. Now, if you're reading this and you're like me, or if you're listening to me read this to you and you're thinking to yourself, like, I have no idea what that means, fear not. That's probably the majority of the community for this video game. Unless if you're the uber duper hardcore, you probably read this and go like, what does that even mean for me? So again, this is yet another one of those things where I think that the communication for this is horrific, where you can't even understand what, like, to me, I'm like, was I not getting rewards before from different sets? What does that even mean? I have no idea. And I've played this game for a lot of hours. Adding unit rewards to a wider variety of event missions to provide even more ways to earn shipments and cosmetic outfits. This I'm very excited for. I think this is a really positive change. This is the best thing from update 2.4 because I think that in general, again, making the game more rewarding for the few people that are still playing this video game and keeping it alive, I think is a good thing. I think it's more rewarding to be able to do your missions and earn those extra units so that then you could spend them on those shipments and get some extra rewards, making it feel like you're actually progressing and you're doing something in this game where there's a complete lack of content. Had they been releasing a ton of content and had there been a lot of missions, new heroes, new levels, I would say that this is absolutely unnecessary and they don't need to worry about rewarding you extra things. The problem is that this game doesn't get any new content. If you're an Xbox player or if you're a PC player, you are literally, aside from the raid, you are starved for content. That's pretty much the entire piece of content that you've gotten for a year now. That's insane. That is really, really, really bad. So I personally think that the way to at least make it feel rewarding is to give you an ability to earn skins, to give you an ability to earn emotes, just something so that at least you're feeling like you're being rewarded for the time that you're putting into the game. So I think that this is a really, really positive change as a whole. Now, what else is included? Adding higher power level gear rewards to meta objectives to create another path to gear up beyond the soft cap on drops for non-raid Omega level threat content. Now, that is about as complicated of a way to phrase that as possible. So let me break that down. Basically, up until this point, the way to earn that higher level gear was only through those Omega level tier threat missions. Now you're going to be able to go on ahead and earn them through meta objectives, meaning probably the actual like challenges, the weekly/monthly challenges that they have available. So I think that that's really cool. Again, another way to reward people for playing the game continuously and keeping this thing alive and well, or alive. Meta objectives will grant rewards to your entire eligible roster, not just a single hero, allowing you to gear up your squad while playing your favorite hero. So that's very cool as well, that you're going to be actually earning things across the board. Again, these 3 points I'm a fan of. This, I don't know how that's a point. The biggest problem I have is that this entire paragraph is, or set of 4 points, is the 2.4 update. How you make that your entire next big update? Your previous update was pretty much like, hey, our game is broken a year and a half, 2 years into its release. We're going to fix it now. It still created a lot of problems for a lot of people, but whatever. We're going to pretend like it actually fixed it. Now, your next update is we're going to continue to fix things. Because if you're like me and you see this update, you're like, oh, well, that means that Jane Foster Thor is going to be included in this update. Nope, because if we keep reading, it says right here, beyond that will be update 2.5, which means that this update of 2.4 that is currently targeted for May release will include just this. You're not getting Jane Foster Thor in the May update. When will 2.5 drop? We don't know. It says, while we'll be coming back with the specifics on timing later, so who the heck knows? This could be June, this could be July, August, September, October, it could be 2023. I have no idea. And it seems like maybe they don't either. We can share that. It will introduce a new playable hero for all platforms. Now, here's where the other problem is, that Jane Foster, the mighty Thor, is actually going to be a hero that is, for the most part, going to be similar to Thor himself. So you'll see right here, they say, so as a fellow wielder of Mjolnir, her suits of abilities will have a lot in common with the Odinsons. Meaning that it's pretty much kind of a shadow character, implying that it's not going to be a brand new character from the ground up. It's just going to be a character that is kind of like going to copy paste a lot of the abilities from Thor, making you think like, why the heck is it taking so long to release a character like this? Especially, again, me, I'm a PlayStation player, so I had Spider-Man release, so I'm happy about that. But if you think about the rest of the community, which I try to do, again, it's kind of a bummer that for Xbox, you haven't gotten a character in a long, long while since Black Panther. And it seems like it's going to be a little while still until we do. So they say, however, Jane will come to life in our game, will be coming in the future, but she will also have elements that are distinctly Jane. I don't know if that means emotes. I don't know if that means abilities. So that's interesting. So now I guess this is where we kind of get into the breakdown of this particular announcement. You can obviously hear my voice. I'm not particularly enthusiastic about this. I am enthusiastic about getting a new character. I think that's lovely. I just don't understand why the development cycle for this game is this slow. There has to be something more to the story behind the scenes here. Either everybody on this team has been moved off to another project and it's just a tiny team now trying to handle the rest of this video game's life. And so because of that, they are literally just unable to produce the content quickly enough. Maybe that's what it is, but that's not what we're told as a consumer, nor is it our responsibility to be like, you know, deciphering all these details. So that's a problem. B, I don't understand how you can continue to promote patch updates months apart from one another, where it really doesn't entice you with any new stuff that is like actually improving the video game while there are still game-breaking bugs. Like, I haven't played the game in about 2 or 3 weeks, and apparently there was an update just recently where as soon as you turn on the game would just immediately crash. So how into a life cycle of a game, 2 years into a life cycle of a game, that's still happening? I don't get it. How it's allowed to be happening with a property as valuable as Marvel, I don't get it. And for the people that always go on ahead and get, you know, triggered by any type of criticism for this video game, I just don't understand at this point how or in what way can we go on ahead and justify any of this behavior. Like, it's literally the single top 3 for sure most valuable brands on planet Earth, with an immense amount of people that want this game to succeed. That's the only reason why people like myself continue to talk about this game, is because we want this thing to be successful. We want this thing to actually be successful. But the problem is, apparently, what that means is you just have to eat up whatever the heck they feed you, and you cannot critique anything about it. That's the logic that comes from the people that continue to go on ahead and criticize any critique from this game. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that that's a really backwards way of looking at things, and I don't think that that will in any way incentivize some sort of a change to come to this title. My one hope is that maybe, just maybe, there's a possibility of this game going on ahead and getting a sequel. I know it's very unlikely, but if they can get a sequel and just start with a fresh slate and get a team that, whatever, maybe it's the same people, maybe it's new people, whatever it is, that learned from the things that they did wrong, the things that they did right, and we could get a really, really excellent game. Because I think that at its core, this idea has a lot of potential. I mean, it's literally like Marvel Heroes / Marvel Ultimate Alliance put online, allowing you to play with a bunch of your friends. It's a really like awesome concept. The problem is that the execution continues to be bad. And I was talking to a friend of mine, Manny, and we were discussing this game versus Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, got a lot of flack as well for its release, for the way that they did microtransactions, for a lot of the problems that it had. And over the course of that game's life, we saw EA genuinely make an effort to turn everybody around on how good the game was, and they did it. I think that by the end of when people were playing that game actively, I think the game was excellent. They did a great job of redesigning things, adding characters, maps, reworking the microtransactions. It was just an absolutely stellar experience, and one that makes me hopeful for another game in the future. With this game, it seems like every time that we take one step forwards, we then proceed to take 2 steps back. And it's just so infuriating, because I want it to be good, but I just cannot ignore these decisions that they continue to make and just pretend like it's not happening and be like, well, it's still fun or whatever, because the game continues to not just be not fun, but continues to get worse and worse and worse as we keep going. And I honestly, I just don't know what it's going to take to have a pivot, unless if we just end this game and get a sequel or something that is like a spiritual sequel where they get to rework things from the ground up. Because I think that there's more to the story of why this game is having the problems that it is, either internally on the development side or with the engine. Like, maybe there's just a lot of technical problems, and that's why they're not able to make things work. Because I have not played a big budget game like this that is this buggy this far into its release. Like, it just does not seem to be getting any kind of momentum. And when it does, they then immediately cut it off at the kneecaps with the next update, where there's an introduction of a whole bunch of new bugs and, once again, a lack of content, which is ultimately the thing that is having the biggest negative impact, I think, on this game. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I know a bit of a Debbie Downer video, but I just have to be honest with you guys on my opinions for this title. I continue to go on ahead and give it my hope that, you know, when this patch drops, and maybe when the next one, and maybe 3 months from now, we'll be sitting here and going like, they finally did it. They figured it out. It's starting to gain momentum. It's slowly but surely, like, we're getting releases and things are moving in the right direction. I hope so. I genuinely am cheering for this game to succeed, but I also cannot ignore the faults that it continues to display on a regular basis. Thanks all for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Maybe I just was way too negative. Perfectly fine. Let me know down in the comment section below, except if you can, instead of just calling me an idiot or something like that, just simply let me know an actual thought out process as to why you disagree and why you think it's perfectly fine to have this many bugs and a lack of content this many years into a release cycle for a really, really big budget game with an incredibly powerful and valuable brand attached to it in Marvel. Thanks all for watching. I'll hopefully catch you guys here next time. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye-bye, guys.